All right. Let's get on with it. Welcome to Forex.Today, the YouTube community of more than 20,000 foreign exchange traders. We gather here today to conduct technical and fundamental analysis with the overriding goal of planning our trades in advance. Let me remind you that trading is risky, not appropriate for everyone. Your past performance, good or bad, is not necessarily indicative of future results. Please stay small, stay humble, focus on the long term, never risk money cannot afford to lose. My name is Wayne. My friends call me Sir. Good coffee. So, what do you want to do today? Well, I thought we'd look at gold, oil, and Bitcoin, the stock markets as well, and I guess we'll look at some dollar pairs. What do you stink? Smell like a plan? If you want me to cover something in particular, I might do it. If you're like, Wayne, I want you to do CAD ZAR, pass. But whatever, doesn't hurt to ask. So let me know what you want me to cover. Now, if it's not a pair or commodity, maybe you just like, Wayne, how do you scalp, spot, swing, trade, carry, position, whatever. Or you have a question about macroeconomics, microeconomics, whatever, market related. Let me know. I'll do my best to help. There's many other forms of help besides these live streams. You can check the links below the video. There's a link to my book, The Strategic and Tactical Forex Trading Book. Yeah, strategic and tactical Forex trading. Strategy first, then tactics. Hey, makes sense to me. I guess that's why I wrote the book. Second thing is, I run a community called FX Bootcamp. It's been continuously running for about 20 years. It's very, very, very expensive though. $88 per year. And you're like, well, what do I get? Well, you get more than $88 worth of stuff. So join. And then there's also a link to tradersway.com. They're a broker. You're a trader. They want to develop a symbiotic relationship with you, which means they would like you to actually use their service. So that means you would fund a live account with real money and trade with them. You'll get fast execution speed, narrow spreads, huge swaps. Good. But the thing is, their business model is unique. Like I said, it's symbiotic. For them to truly succeed, they need you to succeed, to slowly but surely growing your trading account through conservative and disciplined trading. And if you trade for years and years and years and years, it works out very well for the both of you. They provide a service to you, and you pay for it. And it's good. It's happy. Makes the world a better place. Many brokers are not like that. You're like, aren't all brokers like that? No. In fact, very much no. Very much so, no. Trader's Way is unique, and I recommend them. So tradersway.com. If you don't want to click the link, don't click the link. Just type in tradersway.com. You don't have to tell them Wayne sent me. You don't have to put in a coupon code. You don't have to put in a tracking thing. No, just go. tradersway.com. The beautiful people, the beautiful people. All right. So I did put in a poll today. Guess it could still, but why don't you just tell me? What do you want to trade today? Burn says Bitcoin. Yeah, Bitcoin's been on a tear. In fact, why don't we start there? I'm cool with that. If If you're cool with that, I'm cool with that. Do a crypto. Just dive right into the crypto. And where's my bitty, bitty, bitty? Bitty, bitty, bitty. Can't you see? Okay. Oh my gourd. Oh my gourd. Looking at the daily, I know there's a lot of stuff going on here. Just look past that if you will, if you can, if you could, if you would. What seems to be in play and what the chart tells me, remember, not my opinion, $28,365 about. Holy smokes, what a move. Now, that is straight up risk on. Straight up risk on. Just holy smokes. Oh, how do you find the swap? Let me show you a swap. So let's just say like Trader's Way gives you a really nice swap on even euro dollar. So you open up your market watch, you select the currency, so euro dollar, select specification, and they pay you money to short euro dollar. And that's actually a significant swap. The carry on that is huge for euro dollar. Now there's negative carry on the upside. Obviously there's higher interest rates in the United States. So that's how you find the specific swap. Okay. Holy smokes. And that adds up. That's pretty good. Over the course of a year, that's a lot. I think the best one you'll find is Euro ZAR. And remember, euro dollar was 3.5. 200! Oh my gourd. Oh my gourd. Holy smokes. What a beautiful swap. Okay. So, oh my gourd. That's huge. So anyways, thank you, Trader's Way, for making the world a beautiful place. Okay. All right. So anyways, dude, this Bitcoin is crazy hot, red hot. And what that might be telling us is there's no recession coming. Yes, we might have high interest rates and high inflation, but we can handle it. And even I might have to wake up to that fact. So we leave interest rates at 5.5% or 5.25% for years. And nobody cares. The economy keeps growing. Great. That's what Bitcoin says. Buy the dip and let her rip. Holy smokes. And so if you were to look at that, you might correlate that out to the U.S. stock market and say S&P 500 should go up. Well, maybe, not nearly that aggressive. And right now I still have a plan A, plan B scenario. And plan B is still in play. Plan B being this whole thing is still technically bearish is basically what I'm saying. So we're not quite there yet. What's up, Frankie? Who up? Hey, by the way, we have a swing trading meeting today for everybody that's a member of the swing trading group or the day trading group. Let me show you the community aspect, the news community part of our website. Okay. So if you're a member of the day trading group or the swing trading group, you're going to see circles available to you. Everyone has access to the live community and events. But if you're in the swing trading group or the day trading group, you're going to have these circles there. Okay. But what I wanted to share with you is recordings go up here. So here's yesterday's day trading group meeting right here. Okay. And now for today's meeting, okay, and this is up on the meetups tab, you'll see that there's a live swing trading group meeting. What I want you to do is there's a little button here that subscribes you to reminders. Stewie, I still am. Yes, I am. Stewie, I'm just, okay, answer Stewie's question. But anyways, going back to this. So if you're a member of the swing trading group or the day trading group, I want you to click the little button so that you can get your reminders. So it'll just say, hey man, Wayne's about to start. Or when I actually start, it'll also send you a reminder. Now, if you're not registered as attending, then it won't remind you. So you just got to do it once, and then you'll always be reminded. When you log into FX Bootcamp to attend the event, just click the live room and it'll take you right in. Okay. When the meeting is done, the recording will be placed right up here, and it'll say February 16, swing trading. So here's last week's swing trading meeting. Okay.
It didn't. Oh, there. It did a thing. Okay, cool. Let me remind you that trading's risky, not appropriate for everyone. Your past performance, good or bad.
See how it does a pop-up player now?
Not necessarily indicative of future results. Please stay small, stay humble, focus on the long term. Never risk money cannot afford to lose.
Isn't that cool? You can resize it whatever you want. Let me give you a quick
tour of some of the changes so you can get your head around it.
Cool, right?
Things are likely to change a little bit over.
Cool. So that's how that works, just so you know. So again, many of you in today's meeting right now are members of the swing trading group. So please log in and subscribe to get the reminders and the invitations. It's not even, right, just the invitation and all that kind of stuff. So, bada bing, bada boom. Nice. So yes, going back to Stewie's question, am I still bullish on the dollar? Yeah. Well, I'm exercising patience. How about that? So we'll see. So the problem, Stewie, is when Bitcoin takes off like a Tesla rocket, it makes me think dollar weakness, and that scares me. But then I look at the S&P500, which is way bigger than Bitcoin. It doesn't quite show that. So there seems to be something going on specifically with Bitcoin and not necessarily macroeconomics. But also I look at this chart, and this still is technically bullish, but it looks like it's trying to roll over. Okay. So the way I kind of interpret the rate of change, if you will, is it's showing less and less bullishness. And if we're doing this soon, then the dollar will slowly get stronger. But there's a lot of conversation as well as economic evidence, if you will, that yes, inflation is slowing, but yes, some inflation is not slowing. That yes, the Fed may continue raising rates, but yes, the Fed is likely to pause soon. And yes, maybe there isn't a cut coming, but yes, maybe that's okay. And all of a sudden, just everything is starting to feel a little bit different. The biggest bulls and the biggest bears are sort of tempering their enthusiasm on either side of the trade. And maybe the world is coming together and or let's say the United States is coming together and saying, all right, well, we're going to be at 5.25 for maybe 2 years. The Fed maybe never cuts. Now, why would the Fed never cut? We don't ever go into recession. Yeah, we have a little bit high inflation. And yes, the worst of the inflation's over because that was much more supply chain. The Fed was able to normalize interest rates back to 5.25. Like, I will repeat this. When I was first trading Forex, the 10-year T-note had a yield of 5.25. A normal mortgage was 6.5. That was normal. So as far as I'm concerned, 5.25, and we're not even there yet. Okay? But 5 to 5.25 to 5.5% interest rates is just normal. It's not even restrictive. So the world might be saying, you know what? The Fed moved everything all the way to 5.25, 5.5. They're never going to cut, but all of that's okay. Wages have gone up enough to address much of the inflation, like food. But, things like, I don't know, I'm ordering new garage doors today, and maybe aluminum door prices are back to normal. Maybe supply is back to normal. And in that case, that inflation has gone away. And so maybe this is just all good. We're fine. And I have to wake up to that reality that no recession is coming. That seems more and more realistic now than it did 3 months ago. But I'm still evidence-based, and so the stock market doesn't quite say that yet, but I might have to temper my enthusiasm for a downturn. But then again, there's probably no reason for the stock market to rally 20% this year. You see? So how do we handle a neutral market? Might be the new normal to be discussed, analyzed, and priced in. Cool, right? So anyways, it's only money, honey. So we'll see. I think Jim said that he ordered aluminum doors for his garage. He had to wait a year to get them, and then when they showed up, they were the wrong color. Oh, I know that pain. I went through that many times over our 2 years of COVID. Anywho. So we need to watch the stock market today. And it looks mediocre to me. Okay? Okay? It looks mediocre to me, meaning like the day trade setups are not really there. So that's not really what's going on. We are caught on a weekly R1. We are caught under a monthly R1. So there's definitely resistance above us. We're definitely respecting them. But there's also definitely support below us. So I don't know. This is sort of, it looks like a rangy day. And if I had to roll the dice, I'd say probably up more than down. Okay. How to install charts? Well, the biggest thing that most people miss is they don't know where to install. So you go to File, Open Data Folder. And it gives you an area like this. Now, when you're running the installer, I think this is where people just don't get it. I think they just don't get it. So you have to, so let's do it now. It says, when you run the installer, it says, where do you want to install it? So you copy this and paste that into the installer. And then the installer knows where your MT4 or your MT5 files are. So it goes to this thing, and the installer says, okay, install the profiles into the profile folder, install the templates into the template folder, install the EAs, not in the MQL4, but in the experts folder. And that's it. Boom, done. But what a lot of people miss is they don't know that first step of telling it where to install it. So they'll do things like install it into their pictures folder, and then they're like, oh, my pivot points don't work, only my moving averages work. Well, the moving averages in the template are built into MT4, MT5, so that's why that works. So they're like, I ran the installer and it don't work none. My pivots don't work. My index don't work. It's because they installed those files in some random place and not their platform. So that would be the big thing. Now, also, there's a thing called YouTube, and I would be surprised if there were less than 10,000 videos that go through how to install a template file into a template folder, an indicator file into the indicator folder. Okay, so again, you go File, Open Data Folder. Guess what? The template files go in the template folder. The profile files go in the profile folder. Huh? Guess what goes in the indicator folder? Indicator files. And then guess what expert advisor files go? Oh, it goes into the expert advisor folder, the experts folder. See? Ba, 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 ba. See, there's my auto stop. Love it. It's one of my favorites right there, my auto stop. Love it. Hoorah. Okay, Highlander. So anywho, so yes, it's not that I'm a bear in the stock market because I own the stock market. Oh, no, you're still lost. Mohammed, yeah, we'll get there, Mohammed. You're so funny. You're still lost. Okay, give me an example. Okay, if you're installing, what file are you trying to install? Boom, 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 boom. Yeah. I'll stick with it just a little bit longer, Lucas, and then I will move on because we don't need everybody. But I do know many people have these questions, so I'll try to tackle it and help out Mickey Highlander. But then, yeah, I'll get back to the trading. Oh, you need the download. Oh, FX Bootcamp. Look. Chart toolkit for MT4, MT5. Over 200 templates, profiles, indicators, and EA installed on MetaTrader. Okay? See? Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Oh, well, maybe your membership expired. Yeah. Yeah, your membership might have expired. So you just sign up, pay the $88 again. Yeah, that's no big deal. All right. So that's that. Problem solved, I believe. Yeah, less than 2 months old. Well, then you're probably logging in with the wrong email. I mean, look, it doesn't make a mistake. So it's not like I'm manually pulling strings. So it works. So you're probably logging in with the wrong email. You joined with one email, now you're logging in with a different, and that kind of stuff. So yeah. All right, let's move on. I gotta move. Let's look at ASX. And look at this. Let me just go out here. What color Lambo? I like a woodland camouflage wrap with fluorescent orange highlights on like the black wheels, maybe the stitching in the leather. That's what I'd do. And to just really stand out, put like a snowboard rack on the roof. And have matching snowboards on the roof of your Lambo that say FX Bootcamp on it with the logo. And you drive around with snowboard racks on top of your Lambo. You're like, yeah, I take my Lambo when I go snowboarding. Anyway, so this is what we've had set up here for a while on ASX, and it'll be interesting what happens next, because we're at that point now where the trend either continues or the trend breaks. Yeah. Cool. The orange is good. It's touchy. Yeah. Now my Porsche is black on black on black with lime green accents. Fluorescent lime green. It's really something else. I mean, it's really something else. Byrne says, you don't have mountains in the Netherlands. Yeah, but then you really stand out. You're like, are those snowboards? You're like, yeah. Why do you have snowboards? Because I can. What's it to you? You get all mean to people. So anyways, what do you think? This is the last kind of chance for the trend. Otherwise, the trend bottoms out here near the buy zone. So going back a couple of weeks ago, we had identified the sell zone, and that worked. And then we had already identified the buy zone. That's worked. And so now, again, are there more bulls or are there more bears? Okay, and there's definitely less bulls than there used to be, indicated here or here. Okay. We are definitely losing bulls. Okay. But this is probably a time when they would think about coming back in. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. All right, so let's moveon.com. What do you want to do next? Gold oil? Yeah, I guess so. Let's do gold and oil. So the reason we start with the stock market, of course, is get your bias going. Can I confirm with our other biases here? Okay. Gold currently trying to move down, but you can see we're stuck on some level of support. Okay. So we have not made a lower low. And in fact, this might become a problem if we don't make a lower low. Look at that. So we got to keep an eye on that. Gold coming down would be a risk off. Okay. We're stuck currently, and we've been here a while. We've been stuck on the annual central pivot. And if we break, this is going to drop $100. And I've tried to position myself to take advantage of the $100 drop. And so the fact that we're struggling, maybe it'll take a couple more days or something. We might want to add a moving average to this. Maybe I've oversimplified it. So let's add a moving average. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. And it says on the 4 hour, this could fart around another whole day, and then the 4 hour pushes it down. Thank you, Stewie. Okay, S&P 500 has come down a little bit more. Let's take a look at my oh my. WTI. Let me get rid of that. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. How many people... Actually, let me ask it in a question. So... Again, these questions are anonymous, so I don't know who answers what. So be honest. Okay, please answer this honestly. I popped a poll. Okay, we have statistically enough. Okay, more votes coming in. Thank you for participating. It makes the data more and more accurate. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Muy bien. $50 people have voted. I appreciate that. Thank you. Guess that's enough. Okay. Most people don't read it. A small percentage did. And some people don't know what it is. All right. Let me bring this up because I did read the report. And where's the weekly? So funny, I get it by email, and I never know where it is. Is it under short term or weekly? See, I read the weekly full report. Hang on, I'll bring it over here. So I was just reading the weekly. This week in petroleum, I guess that's it. That's not exactly the one I was reading, but this is what I wanted to get to. Check this out. This is from yesterday. Okay. We have officially oversupplied with oil. We now have more oil in supply than the 5-year average for this time of year. The other thing that you may have noticed is that we've hit an all-time high in production. I think it was 12,250,000 barrels a day of production. Exports are down relative to what we've been doing lately. Okay? And so I thought that was quite something. Okay, but we have a lot more oil. Okay, 16 million barrels more oil in reserve. Not reserve, sorry, in storage. And so supply, if you want to do it like this, oil. Price. Quantity. Okay. Nice. Okay. Is that the supply curve or the demand curve? California's stupid, Stewie. They do it to themselves. No, that's not fair. There's very few refineries in California. So gasoline and oil are two different things. Okay, is this a supply curve or a demand curve? Oh, I see. There's a lag on YouTube. Holy smokes. Why there would be such a lag? Like, dude, it's like over a minute lag. Huh, well, I guess I'll stop asking questions. Okay, this is a demand curve. When prices are high, you demand very little quantity. When prices are low, you demand a high quantity. Okay, that's how that works. And then we go over here and we'll have a supply curve. All right. So what we're talking about is supply increasing. So we have quantity 1. We want to increase quantity to quantity 2. So we'll do this in a slightly different green, and we'll increase the quantity to S2. Okay, so now we've increased to Q2. Okay, and what happened to price? Well, we were at Q1 led to price 1. But now we shifted the equilibrium to Q2 and prices have, okay, so we go here. So quantity increased from quantity 1 to quantity 2, lowering price from price 1 to price 2. Okay. And so we might look at this data and say there's downward pressures in price because of the, not just the increase in inventory, but now we're technically too much oil for this time of year in storage. And no, construct that does not count strategic petroleum reserve. That's like, for example, in Wheeling, Oklahoma, there are big tanks. Okay, and they were critically low a month or two ago, and now there's more. And for this time of year, more than enough. Now, are they full? No. Paul's like, what's the difference between the Cushing data? Well, that's industry oil. And the SPR, that's government oil. Okay. Darko, hey, good to see you, Darko. Darko's like, hey, rig count going up. Rig count is, yeah. But also, what I was saying before is I believe last week we produced 12,250,000 barrels per day. And that's a new record. Okay. And we've been doing this for a while, for a couple of months now, 2 or 3 months. We've been producing about 12 million barrels a day, which is a lot. And now the United States has never produced 12,250,000 barrels per day. And we are now. And we are producing more, we're producing oil faster than we're burning it, I guess. I mean, that may not be actually correct. We're filling the tanks faster than we're drawing them down. But there may be some lots of other reasons for it. And I don't have the chart in front of me now. So we have the level of oil we have in inventory now is high relative to our 5-year average for this time of year, but it's not too much for later parts of the year. And we might just be building up and in anticipation of having lots of different demand in the future. So we might be building up to make more diesel because we believe there's a diesel shortage. Or we ramped up all this energy to sell to Europe, but Europe didn't need it in the quantities that we thought. Or we were waiting for the China reopening and we're going to fund that. Or there's a lot of things going on. But the bottom line is when you look at the 5-year average of how much oil do we have more than enough right now. And we're producing more than we ever have, ever in the history of the world. Okay. So it's pretty interesting. So if you actually read, for the 88% of viewers that have not read that report, it's actually quite a good report. It tells you about demand. It tells you about the products that the crude oil gets turned into. It talks about levels of imports and exports. So that oil that the United States is producing is much too light because it's fracked from the Balkan. So it's fracked oil, it's light, so they need to increase imports of Canadian oil. And it doesn't tell you that, but you have to read into it that the United States is importing oil. Well, why would they import oil if we're producing more oil than we've ever needed? Well, there's different types of oil. And so the more of this light oil we produce, the more heavy oil we have to import and blend. Because then you can't crack a light oil and turn it into diesel. It doesn't have the right viscosity. So you got to blend it and then crack it and then make a distillate out of it. Okay. If any of this is of interest to you, and by the way, it should be, shame on you if it's not, but if you are, that's in FX Bootcamp. You will learn all this stuff if you join FX Bootcamp. You'll learn it in great, great detail. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Guess it's over here. The oil trading course. Look at how wonderful that is. Fracking and tar sands, huh? So what I'm talking about now is in here. Look at how beautiful this is. Oh my God, it's so beautiful. All right. Lots of music about drilling for oil. I just love it. I think this is the 4th song I've played for you guys. Let's skip ahead. Oil on the farmer's land. So you pay plastic with imprints of fabric.
Might not realize is that in nearly every corner of America, there's probably a pipeline right under their feet.
Little refineries. And just say, well, what about 300,000 barrels a day, or let's say 350? 350 to 700. These are all the different pads. Pad 1, pad 2, pad 3, pad 4, pad 5. You'll see that in the EIA report. California pay a lot. Okay, if you just added up the amount of money spent on Teslas, the converting that into that synthetic crudes and stuff that they could use to then sell. But some of those places, they pull that sulfur out there. And I've seen pictures of mountains of yellow sulfur outside of these facilities. So at some point, you got to get rid of the sulfur. A boiling mash here. We're boiling raw crude that we got from somewhere. Okay. So we're talking about feeder stock. Boil it until it starts to separate from, more of a solid into a more of a liquid and then into a vapor. And then we got to take the hot stuff and we got to throw it into this tower. Okay. And what we're going to do, do you remember the vertical separator that we had before? It's kind of like that, but I'll show you the quick version of this is you're like, oh yeah, it's a vertical separator. I'll show you that there's more processing. See, in a vertical separator way back out on the oil patch, all we were doing is removing solids like sand, liquids like water, and then we're pulling off the nat gas. But it's still not oil. There's still a lot of natural gas in there. There's still a lot of other stuff in there. Okay, there's still heavier oils inside of the lighter oils, especially if you're getting stuff from Canada. Because remember, once we got that bitumen out of there, we most likely had to blend that with a really light oil to make it the synthetic oil, and then put that on a truck or on a pipeline and send that to a refiner. And now they still got to rip this apart. So it's a lot more intensive than the
This is
vertical
good.
separator or the heater treater back on the oil patch. Okay. So what I want you to see this, that we get a lot of products out of here. So remember, we superheated it, then we dumped it. Okay. It's connected in the middle here. We superheated it, and then we dump it into here. And what we're trying to do is get the lightest stuff at the top and the heaviest stuff at the bottom. The heaviest stuff is going to be ridiculously hot, but it's thick, it's nasty, it's that tar stuff. And at the top, well, it's gas. But we had to superheat all of this into steam, okay? And we really have to cook it a lot to separate these things. And then we siphon off the gases, and then we move the different liquids there. But these all become products, okay? So we have trays in between, and I'm going to go into great detail into this. There's trays in between here that catches the liquid. The idea is we heat it and we heat it and heat it, and we keep heating it and we keep heating it until the lightest stuff keep going to the top. Okay? So it's all about gravity, in this case, the weighting. Okay? So I'm going to go back to that into greater detail, but I wanted to show you the other stuff. We have cracking. So with that heavier oil at the bottom, let me go back here. The heavier oil down here that we weren't able to turn into steam, we tried to turn it into vapor. Well, then we need to still use it. There's value there. It's just the steaming process isn't going to work. It's as heavy, it's as light as it's going to ever get, but it's still too heavy to turn into a product. So we take that heavy oil and we move it into this other thing, and we're going to crack it. Okay? So that we can make better products.
So anyways, cool, right? Like, I love it. I can watch that whole thing. like this is so interesting. I love it. So yeah, I geek out on this stuff because we convert crude oil into money. We like to refine it into money. And the more you know, the more you know. S&P 500 coming down. Oh, look at gold making its move. I got to move. I got to move. Give me the juice. That's good. That's good for me. That's good for me. Come on, Bubba. Make it through. Loving it. Look at my entry. It seems like a million miles away now, huh? Good. So anyways, kicking off the 5, trying to make a lower low. That could be good for me. That's great. Take a quick look here at, what do I want to, I guess I'll look at some metals. And silver coming down. Palladium not doing much, just farting around, but yeah, so metals down. So we'll see
what comes of that? That's interesting. Go back to the stock market here. Okay, S&P definitely leading the way. Look at that move in Nazi. Ooh la la. Oh! Oh! Shalaka-laka. Wowzer. Right off the top. Holy smokes. That's great. Wowzer. Just wonderful moves. Good. So all that, I believe, should benefit me. Let's look at dollar pairs. Okay. That's great for my euro dollar position. Okay. It's great. So we'll see what happens next. 107 heading down maybe. Let's bust it out here. Guess we got to go all the way to a 4H. Okay. Interesting. So again, a lower low would be desirable here. Cool. I hope the sun comes out today. I want to get some sun on my face. I realized how little I leave. I never leave the house. I barely even leave the room, my office. This is so funny. So I built a gym in the house, and I just got it set up, and the weights showed up the other day, so I got the weights all there. And then, so last night I'm like, I'm going to go lift some weights. So I'm walking to that part of the house, and I guess my mind is just, it's so funny. I'm just so used to doing what I'm doing. But I'm like, I can't see anything. That I'm walking down the hallway and it's dark. Well, I don't turn any lights on. And then I walk into a room and I don't turn the lights on. I'm like, damn it, I can't see anything. It's all black. And then I walk to another room and it's black. And then finally I get to the gym and I'm like, damn, everything's so dark. I'm like, I got my phone out. Like, it doesn't even occur to me to turn the lights on, because the rooms I walk around in, we have it so that as I walk through the house, all the lights come on. So when I walk down a hallway, the lights come on in the hallway, and then I turn the corner to go to the steps, and the lights on the stairs turn on. And so like I walk from my office to the kitchen, to the office, to the kitchen, to the office, to the kitchen, and I never go anywhere else in the house. So suddenly, like, it just doesn't occur to me that if you're walking in a dark room, you should turn the lights on. And so now I have this new part of the house, and I'm like, I don't know where I am. I don't know where anything is. Where are the lights? It didn't even occur to me, like, dude, turn the lights on. But it shows you how little I even moved to that part of the house. It's just, it didn't occur to me that you have to turn the lights on at night. So I had to laugh at myself. I'm like, damn, this is so complicated. I'm like, I need a flashlight. No. Turn the switch. Turn the switch, and the light comes on. Oh, well, where are the switches? Where are the switches? I don't know where the switches are. So anyways, I got to change my habit. And yes, I lifted weights yesterday. Huh? Got the guns, huh? Reloading the guns. Yeah, Darko. No, what I do is I do 10 reps, not 8. So obviously a little lighter. So I do 10 with the 10s, 10 with the 15s, 10 with the 20s. And then I'll try like 5 with the 25s. And then 10 with the 20s, 10 with the 15s, 10 with the 10s. And that's it. So it doesn't take me very long. But that's enough, right? The guns are reloaded by that point. It's amazing what like 12 minutes will do, huh? But thank you, Henley. By the way, how are you? Okay, so this is what I'm watching. This is what I'll be watching the rest of the day. Little hesitation off the bottom. I get it. Look at bottom, bottom, bottom. A lot of bottoms, man. A lot of bottoms. So we, like I said today, earlier today, before any of this started moving, when you look at the U.S. stock market, it says bears have, there are bears and there are bulls, and I'm not sure who's going to win. So it's one of those days, I think, I suppose that's what we're going to end up doing in the swing trading group is figure out next week's plans. And that's probably what's going to happen later today or tomorrow. Bulls are going to buy and bears are going to sell. And right now, earlier today, we were staring at each other. Now I think bears have entered their trades. Bulls are now entering their trades. And amateur traders are trying to follow, and what they don't understand is there's no leader. Okay? There's no leader. What happened was bears sold here, and bulls were waiting to buy there. Okay? Bears were selling a lower high. Bulls wanted to buy a double bottom. So the only thing that's happened is people have entered their trades. And so where a retail trader gets into trouble, like, now that it's falling, I guess it's bearish. No, that's not how it works. It was bearish up here. It's not bearish after the red candle. You understand, like the red candle shows that all the bears have let it fly. They already did their trades. And now bulls are doing their trades. I'm trying to make that flip, but. Oh yeah, Cape Town doing good. It's going to get hot in Cape Town. You want some sunshine, probably Cape Town's the place to find it. I'm still interested in doing a conference in Cape Town. Cuba would be nice too, but they said, well, you can't promote it and you can't charge money for it. And you probably shouldn't talk about Forex. I'm like, oh, okay. So not Cuba. Constructive, bumpy probably means bullish. I've always wanted to go to Botswana. Yeah. Or Swaziland. But Jim Rogers, the famous futures guy, who actually he sent me his DVDs the other day. It must have maybe around Christmas time. But I got these DVDs from Singapore from Jim Rogers. And anyways, when he did one of his tours around the world, I think it was Botswana, where he got there and he met the leaders and he went to the stock market and just saw how amazing the country is and how well organized it was and all this kind of stuff. He immediately invested into everything he could. Thank you, Frank. Yeah, Mester's speaking twice today. Oh, Jeffrey, I've always said this. If you can get 50 to 100 people in the room, or more even, if you can get enough people in the room to, cover my costs and maybe slip me some love for the time. I love meeting with other traders. I love talking about investing and trading in the markets. I love hanging out with people that are passionate about the stuff we do. I don't need much of an excuse to travel. So if you're like, like when I visited Johannesburg, I think there was about 300 of us. And there, and we didn't charge that much, but because there was a lot of people, you could do it fairly affordably. And it covered all my costs of traveling. And I was slipped a little bit of love for my time. But then the host got a little bit of love and all that. Like everybody got a little bit of love and it all just kind of worked out. And we had a great time. And, and I was asked to stay and do some fun things. And I'm like, no, I got to go home. But thank you. And then I went home. So I went there for 3 days and then came home. But it was great. So, Jeffrey, if you could put something together, dude, I'm interested. Oh, is that what it was on? Musk tweeting again, huh? Okay. That, to me, that's very dangerous, that asset class, huh? Well, Jeffrey, do it this way, like 100 people, $300 a head. You'll need space, right? You need a space to host it. And you'll need some promotion, marketing material usually. All that kind of stuff. That's usually how it goes down. So, Henley was planning in Cape Town. We had some really cool ideas, and she got some numbers, and we were putting things together, and then didn't quite just get there. COVID happened and a bunch of other things. But yeah, man, that sounds epic. All right. And that goes to anybody, guys, and everybody. Right? There's all kinds of things. I'd like to get back to London as soon as possible. I'd like to get back to Hong Kong as soon as possible, and Singapore. I think one of the only places I've never been is Miami. So I got to go to Miami. I've run out of places. But ain't never been to Miami, so got to go to Miami for sure. Yeah, Jeffrey, I don't know. Talk to a local broker or something. All right, so there's the Dixie. Again, I started with the stock market because we're trying to get an idea of risk on and risk off. And what I saw was, I'm hoping for risk off, but I see basically volatility with neutrality, which means I see a lot of rationale for up. I see a lot of rationale for down. Both of those things are probably going to happen today. Cool. That's cool, man. Yeah, that was a thing like, Jeffrey, when I was in Cuba, I was talking to somebody that knows a lot of Forex traders there. And he's like, we should get together. And, meaning like I should meet like, 100 Forex traders. And I'm like, whoa. Because Meta's like, be careful. Be careful who you talk to. Keep your mouth shut. Let them talk more than you, and make them talk and you just listen, right? And I'm like, okay, Meta's right. So he's like, we should get together and we can get together like 100 Forex traders. And I'm like, wait, you can't, there's no Forex traders in Cuba. There's no way Cuba's going to be down with this. This is a trap. They're going to throw me into jail if I'm like, hey man, yeah, let's do this. Oh, we can do this and do that. So anyways, it was kind of funny. And I'm like, what, there are Forex traders here? And I'm like, how many Forex brokers do you got in Cuba? And they're like, we don't have Forex brokers here. And you're obviously not trading Cuban peso, right? There's no global market for Cuban peso, right? So I'm like, who are these guys and where do they open their accounts, and is it legal, and how does, and we're talking about, that's a capitalist pig dog thing, right, Meta? I'm like, what? These guys are getting together and they want to trade Forex. For what reason? Because that's not how a Cuban thinks. Let's take a bunch of risk and get a reward. They look at it and they're like, oh, you're just a capitalist. Oh, that's speculation. Oh, that's bad. They'll just tell you right off the bat. Speculation? Bad. You're a capitalist. It's all speculation. It's gambling. It's bad. You shouldn't think that way. That's how a Cuban thinks. So for this guy to say, let's get 100 people together and there's a whole bunch of traders that want to get rich quick. And I'm like, wait, that doesn't make any sense. It's not how a socialist thinks. Right? Yeah, Meta. So it depends on, but then again, if you lose money, what happens, Meta? If you're teaching a bunch of government people how to trade Forex and they lose money, what happens next? They invite you to Cuba. You can have an extended stay, right? With free room and board for 10 years in the prison. Free room and board, stay as long as you want, or stay as long as we want. Yeah, so anyways, so you got to be careful. So yeah, it is made of, but it's a great place to study socialism, because when I was in communist China, how many times have I been there? I don't remember. Probably three times, I'm guessing. Well, it depends. But anyways, over the years that I've been there, it's less and less socialist. It may be communist, but it's capitalism wrapped in communism. And I look at it and I'm like, they're doing fine. They have their own problems. It's not perfect, of course. And there's, like I always say, there's strengths and weaknesses to every style of social organization. But with capitalism, the average person is 200 times richer than they were 30 years ago. 200 times richer. Healthier, happier, live longer. That's capitalism, not communism. Okay, so then you go to Cuba and it's communist. Okay, great, fine, whatever. They've made a social decision. They voted for communism. But what holds it down is socialism, not the communism part. Hey, go to China. Rich commies. And I bet you if you go to Cuba, the more communist you are, the richer you are. So it's not communism, but it's socialism. And that's where you get their like risk is, whatever. Yeah, there's right. Yeah, and it made us like an everyday. Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm getting at too, right, Meta? And I think it's a fair example. You look at Cuba 30 years ago and China 30 years ago. Communist, socialist, socialist. China switches from communist socialist to communist capitalist. Cuba stayed communist socialist. So fast forward 25 or 30 years, Cuba is significantly more poor, and it started out poor. China went from poor to fabulously wealthy in comparison. So the only thing that changed was socialism versus capitalism. And of course, there's no example of socialism ever working, ever. And there are many, 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 many amazing stories of capitalism improving people's lives. How about South Korea versus North Korea? What's the difference? The Koreans? The people? They put good people over here and bad people over there? Okay. Well, Maida, when I see, when I was standing there in the streets of Havana, you can see how fabulously wealthy Cuba was at that time period. Like, it was stunning. And so I might be looking at a dirty building and it's crumbling, but I was walking these streets and I look at things like the material they used for the door jambs. So you got this crumbling street with potholes in it. Okay, fine. But then you step into the building and there's a giant door, and then they have the footing along the bottom of the door. It's marble. It's not concrete. So when you think of socialism, it doesn't even have to be communism. I don't care about the communism. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. But the distinction I'm trying to make is socialism. So if you're in Eastern Europe, and my apologies to all Eastern Europeans that are listening, but when you're in that part of the world, what you see is concrete. Not now. I mean, go back. What was Eastern Europe like in the 80s? Okay? Concrete. All the buildings exactly the same, made out of concrete. And then if they wanted to have a planter for flowers, concrete, and then concrete here and concrete there. Everything was made out of concrete, and most things looked exactly the same, and absolutely architecturally ugly. Now, when America was borderline socialist, they did stuff like that in Boston too, and it's horrible. Those buildings are horrible. But anyways, so going back, I'm looking at these comparisons. What was, like socialism in Eastern Europe versus socialism in Cuba, right? Like, you're making all these things. And Cuba has a few of those buildings, but not a lot. Okay? But going back, you can see in the 1950s, when Cuba was building buildings, no two buildings are alike. They thought about architecture, things like what would be beautiful, what would be cool. A lot of Cuban houses, the apartments, buildings and stuff where most people live, they're cool. It's like what you think of South Florida. Like, they're cool. They're stylish. You're like, dang, these are beautiful buildings. Back when you think of American cars that were flamboyant and had like chrome and wings, well, Cuban houses matched like the American cars. Like they were beautiful, cool houses. But they used marble on the, door jambs and stuff. And some of the big, beautiful buildings they still had the marble stairs. So they were worn from people walking, not concrete. And so you can just walk through the streets and say, this place was amazing. And the reason I'm so excited about going back to Cuba is sort of as a student of history. I love to learn and think and ask questions. I look at it and I realize it was beautiful like that, where it was obviously capitalist, obviously had excess capital because there was investment and return on investment. And then one day, literally on one day, it stopped. And you can see it frozen in time. It's an amazing place for an economist and a historian of economics. And made us so sad. But it's just clear. Now, to an outsider, it's clear. But what I'm also interested in, to the insiders, to the Cubans, they see it totally different. Because it's been a couple of generations now. So they see it from a socialist point of view. And that's where I'm learning. The more I can learn from them, the more maybe I can make better investments. But, Maida, I didn't even see it like that. Because there would have to be an element of, I know and I give up. Where I think maybe there's three types of Cubans. Sounds like a paper. There's three types of Cubans. There's those that are part of the Communist Party, and they're happy-ish. And then there's Cubans that are like, would leave tomorrow if they could. And are probably preparing to leave tomorrow. They're just preparing so they can. And then there's those that are just like, well, there hasn't been anything different. They know the history, they see it, but they're just like, it's different. They're just part of society, the socialist society. And they're like, well, there's nothing I can do about it, and I'm not sure I want to do anything about it. So it's just, yeah, exactly, Maida. But some of the young guys I met, as you know, were powerful communists. And, they were happy. They didn't need anything. They didn't have any wants or needs. Life was good. So anyways. Okay, so here we go. Again, I'm watching. Is this dollar strength going to continue for a new lower low? Is this dollar strength going to continue for a new higher high? Are we going to get a lower low? Are we going to get a lower low? Are we going to get a lower low? And of course, lower lows benefit me. Yeah. I don't know anything about that, Maida, but yeah. I guess I'll just get rid of that, and I'll just leave this. So that 382 predicts a 1382. So like I could move my limit order down here, guys. That's what the chart actually says. These lines that I have here, these projections, that was based on the plan, But now that the plan has worked, I have to adjust, because one was what the plan was, and now it's what the plan is. Meaning now we actually know what the top is. So this is more likely the reality. Yeah, you do for sure. Yeah. Are you on? You're talking in trading? The best thing to do is, in that case, a limit order. Yeah, it says 2000 in jail. Yeah, but that's what happens, right? So I don't think it's tragic, but that's what happens. In particular, in a society like that. There's this great part in the old part of town there's like 4 main old squares. And near one, I forget which one, maybe even the historic one. If you go behind that square, there used to be a building that had like a coffee shop, if you will. Maybe it was a hotel, but I think it was a bar and restaurant and more of a social club. And it's where the rich and the educated, the intellectuals would meet to discuss, I don't know, changing the world. Guess what happened to them at the revolution? And there's now murals across the street from that building, which is now gone. But there's a building that shows all the old intellectuals of Cuba back in the 1950s. And I'm like, yeah. So they were all pulled out in the street and killed, right? Or some form of that. And but that's how all revolutions go. You can go back 1,000 years. You can go back 5,000 years. When there's a social revolution and you're going to have a charismatic leader, because otherwise you can't get people to follow you to change everything. And if you're going to change everything, you got to get rid of the thing. If you're going to change everything, you got to change the thing. And what's the thing? The established way with the established people. So whoever is controlling the old way of thinking and the old way of organization, the old way of power, well, you got to get rid of that if you're going to have something to completely replace it, the current way. So the intellectuals, like, for example, pick any revolution you want, but if you're a professor at a university, in particular in a social science, you better run, boy. Right? You better run, because they're coming to get you, because they have to get rid of you talking about things used to be better and we used to do it this way. And right? Dead men tell no stories. Yeah, but I'm just saying that's been going on since the beginning of time. If that's what revolution is. And there's all kinds of, right? It's like when the United States, quote unquote, liberated Baghdad. What happened? All of a sudden, the Americans were surprised that there were death squads walking down the street. I'm like, you shouldn't have been surprised. Made us says it's a disgrace. That's what it is. I'm just saying it's classic. That's what you do. That's how you do a revolution. If there was a textbook, right, Maida? If there was a textbook for a revolution, well, that's what you do. Step 3. And by the way, I'm certain of it, maybe not published, but, there are, like in the military, and I can't speak for the military because I was only in the U.S. military for one day, but I'm certain that there's a rule book, a playbook, a manual. Someone says, okay, you're going to take over an entire civilization. Here's the book. And you go through chapter 1. Do this. Chapter 2. Do this. Chapter 3. Do this. Right? Here's the playbook. And so, like, if you were going to start a revolution in Cuba, well, that was the right thing. maybe I don't think it's that bad yet. But anyways, just interesting. Okay. So I try to remove the good and the bad. Obviously, there are winners and losers. Obviously. But there's nothing new going on. There's absolutely nothing new going on in the world. We might be seeing something for the first time because as humans, we only live to be 90. And the people in control are only between 20 and 40 years old, actually probably closer like between 30 and 50 years old, and they haven't seen anything before. The people in charge are doing everything for the first time. Or actually, usually what happens is you see things in your 20s and that shapes who you are, and by the time you become 50, you're making decisions based on the things you saw when you were 20. You see my point? So you're like, wow, I've been through this before. I know how to handle a real estate recession. And you do what you saw when you were 20 and you repeat it when you're 50, but you don't know anything about what happened 150 years ago. Nothing. You're not making any decisions based on what humanity has already done 150 years ago, 200, 250, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1,000 years ago, 1,500 years ago, 3,000 years ago. But, you know, revolution ain't new. And it's weird, like, why do people go back to socialism if socialism doesn't work? Well, it's such a good story. It's such a good story. It's such a good story. You don't have to work and you'll earn enough money to be happy because you don't need things to be happy. You need your basic needs to be covered. So you can go to work and you don't have to work hard. And at the end of the month, your rent will be covered and you'll have enough where you can go get free groceries. So you go to the grocery store with your coupon book, and your coupon book says you can have 10 pounds of steak. So you go to the counter and you're like, I want 10 pounds of steak. No steak! Oh, well, could I have 10 pounds of chicken? No chicken! You got to have seafood. I'm on an island, for crying out loud. Can I have some seafood? No seafood for you! But I got a coupon book. Well, if we had the steak, I'd give it to you for free. Well, what do you have? We got rice and beans. And then what do you do for a living? Oh, I go to a hotel and I stand at the bar for hours on end. I can tell you, especially by looking at, and I'm talking about experience. I saw people, their job was to stand in the garden of a hotel and just have nothing to do. Because their job is, if someone comes to the garden, you go up to them and maybe you're a waitress. And you're like, can I get you a drink? Or maybe you're the bartender and maybe a customer will sit at the bar and say, yeah, can I have a beer? Can I have a rum? The problem is there's no people. So to serve, there's none, no guests, not even one guest. So your job as the bartender at the empty hotel is to stand there. And when your 8 hours are done, you go home. Now, I can tell you that would not bring me happiness. That would not bring me fulfillment. I wouldn't feel like I'm living a fulfilled life. And then I don't know how much you earn to be a bartender for invisible guests. I don't know how much you earn to stand there for weeks not serving anybody. I don't think you earn a lot of money. So at the end of it, what do you get? Okay? But the thing is, they're all equally rich. Yeah, Maida. The only thing with that, Maida, is like wherever you go, they're like, this is Hemingway's favorite place. I'm like, oh, don't ever tell me that again. Yeah, everywhere, every place you go, this is Hemingway's favorite. Yeah. Yeah. We're here. Collymar. Where's that? Oh, way over there. Holy smokes. This is the one, huh? Yeah. Oh, way over there. Hey, my dad asked, I said, Dad, you got to come with me to Cuba. And he's like, okay. And then he's like, is there any golfing? And I laughed. I'm like, yeah, probably somewhere. Some tourist trap somewhere there. Oh, okay. But anyways, way over there. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Obviously, the closest I got was here. This is where the, where's the squares? That revolution, I think, was right here. No, I can't see the murals. Maybe there. There's the square. I think it's somewhere in here. That revolution, this must be it. See, Cuba's awesome. Like, look at that. Typical. This is very typical. Look at this. I love me here. Cuba's amazing. Look at that. The trolley cars. Oh, I haven't. Havana used to have trolley cars? No way. No way. Oh, old menu, CUP. There's no CUP anymore. Looks like the right place, though. Or at least the right area where all the intellectuals used to gather there. And then one day, no more intellectuals. No, I know what I'm talking about. No, I know that your place is way on the other side. I just wanted to show when I was talking about the revolution. But yeah, your place is way on the other side of the harbor. I didn't go out there. I think you got to go through a tunnel to get there. No, I hadn't got that far. I wasn't there that long, and I didn't do too many touristy things. Let's see if we can get some direction here. Not a lot going on in the metals market, although we do have gold down and silver down, which is good. Good. Platinum down. Okay, fine. Palladium not doing much. Well, sure, Meta. Yeah, you'd want to get rid of those guys for sure. The Spanish. But so I want to talk with a Cuban historian who can tell me what was Cuba doing to get so rich. And they're going to tell me some basic story. And then I'm like, wait, stop. Because you can see it must have occurred because of World War I, is what I'm thinking. Because you can go to that old part of town and you can see something changed right around 1920. And it ended in 1960, obviously, with the revolution. And I don't think Havana in particular, because that's all I visited, was fabulously rich in 1900. But by 1950, it was filthy stinking rich. And then there's no gold, there's no coal, there's no iron ore, there's no natural resources, there's no oil. Right? There's farmland. I'm not sure how productive it is being a Caribbean island. But I'm just like, okay, what happened in that 25-year period while the rest of the world was at war? What happened? And I think gold has to do with the story, but I'm like, well, where did the gold? They don't have any gold. So they were sitting on other people's gold. Maybe gold that came up from South America. But that sounds like a story from the 1700s, not the 1900s, right? But like, okay, but let's say Cuba had a lot of gold in its vaults and gold tripled or higher, went up 500% or something because of the war or something. Is that true? And whose gold was it? Was it sugar? All sugar? But that's late in the story because like when I've traveled through the Caribbean, when we talked about sugar, we were talking about 1650, 1750. By 1850, it was already kind of the end. But Cuba seemed to have gone through a different period, but was it just that last period there? So, right? So anyways, it was agriculture. So I'd love to dive into that more. Sugar until, yeah, interesting. Anyways, very interesting. So anyways, I've gone too long today. Thanks for hanging out with me today, guys. Just one last thing. Cuban coffee is better. That's one thing I learned just getting crappy coffee at the local coffee shop. And you're like, boom, it was good. You're like, ooh, and I know my coffee. Yeah, without the garbanzo bean. But I know my coffee. I have good coffee. I have bad coffee. I have great coffee. I have amazing coffee. So I know the whole spectrum. And Cuba had a beautiful, like actually beautifully flavored coffee. It was great. It was really good. No, a lot of what I had was just an espresso, but right. But I actually had some other coffee. And you're like, ooh, 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 ooh la la. Okay, neat stuff. And you should also try the rum. If you go, the rum is wonderful rum. So, yeah, Matus is that's how you, now, to me, it seemed like when I asked for coffee, they just give you espresso. I thought it'd be more like Turkish coffee where it's not espresso. It's just, you know, it's quite something different, but it seemed to me it was just espresso. Yeah. Cool. So I will see you at 4 o'clock if you're in my swing trading group and my day trading group at FX Bootcamp. Like to remind you that when you log in, okay, when you log in, here we are at FX Bootcamp. I'll need you to go to the meetups area, or you could do like, you'll probably enter this way. Oops, that's right. I forgot about that bug. I got to fix that bug. Oops. Okay, I got to fix that bug. So let me get back to here. Click meetups. And make sure you click the subscribe button. You'll only see it if you're already a member. But what this does is it gives you the invitation. So you'll be invited to join. Or just log in right before 4 o'clock and click the live room, and it'll let you in. If you have access to the swing trading group. And again, for those that attended last night's day trading, the video is here, February 15th, day trading. Hey everybody, how you guys doing? There we go. Let me remind you that trading's risky, not appropriate for everyone. Your past performance, good or bad, not necessarily indicative of future results. Please stay small, stay humble, focus on the long term, never risk money you cannot afford to lose. Did you get notified before the meeting? Boom. See? So we're all just kind of pulling it all together and getting used to the process. So that's why I show it to you. So I'll see you at 4 o'clock. Peace on earth. May the pips be with you. May your profits be above average. Please have a wonderful day.